Alright, so project number 9, the next reading of the Eva and Franco stuff. Alright, so Eva and Franco's concept of original is like, it's different from what yours and mine would be, because whereas we think if we created it, it's original to us, like if no one else has ever thought about it, it's original to us. But to they're more like, if no one's thought of it in a certain way, it's original, because they were stealing like people's art, but like and they put it together. It was like original to them because no one else had thought of it that way. Like you can take what someone else has done, but do it your way, and it's still original. I mean, yeah, you've gotten your inspiration from that other artist, but it's still original to you. I mean, even though there are similarities, there's gonna be you can compare something with anything, and it'll always like there'll always be a connection to another piece of work, but this it's still original to you, and it still has its own ideas and its own originality. Yeah. And the the value of art the value of art's kind of tricky because it has to be what somebody wants. Because I mean, you can compare it to cars, and like, if someone really wants a car from 1984, let's say, they're willing to pay more money for someone who just wants a car and like doesn't really care what year it is as long as it's a car. Because I mean, if it's like broken down, but the person who wants it from 1984 sees the potential and has like the whole mindset of I was alive then, and that was like the best summer of my life or whatever, and that was the type of car he had at the moment, or he could be trying to recapture the past through the car, and at that point, its sentimental value is gonna make it increase in price. So maybe a car that was worth 2 grand is now gonna be worth five to him, because he doesn't just see it as a car, he sees it as his past. And so someone who just sees it as a car is not gonna be worth as much. So same thing with art. Like if you go with like now anybody who doesn't know anything about art knows Van Gogh is expensive. Like they know they're like Picasso. They know the big ones because you learn them in school. But it's like like the smaller people. Like I forgot his name, but Andy Warhol's assistant he's become pretty big lately, and his art's starting to increase in value. But only to those who like care about art. I mean, someone who doesn't know who it is just gonna see it as paint on a piece of paper, not much more than that. Whereas like someone who does care is going to see all the effort that went into it and all the care and time, the process, and then that's going to increase its value to them. And so like a faded painting, if it's a Van Gogh, no one wants you to touch it because everyone wants to know Van Gogh was the last person to touch this. He was the last person to do any little, tweaking to it. Like it's been preserved since his era. But someone who's less known, they're just going for an aesthetic. Like if you're just buying a painting because it looks nice, you're just going for an aesthetic value. You're not going for the history. Like with value for art, it really goes what you're going for. If you're going to please, like you want it to look nice, you don't care if it's original, if it's whatever. I mean, all you want it to do is look nice. You don't even care who painted it. I mean, as long as you look at it and it makes you happy or fills the corner in the space or whatever. But if you're going for the historical value, you don't want it touched. You want it to stay how it was when that person made it because it's theirs. It's not yours. I mean, if you look at it that sense, it's their painting. You're just displaying it for them in a sense. So you're kind of like your own mini museum. Whereas if you're buying it to like a place that's been touched up, it's yours. It's not theirs anymore because it's been altered. I'm going on to the fake plaque. I think what they did about that is they're saying how, in a sense, that city was taking advantage of the past because they were using like famous people to like bring in visitors in a sense. I mean, even Franco was just showing how like you should be you should try to accentuate more like the characteristics of the city rather than who's been there, because at that point now it doesn't become about the city anymore, it becomes about the famous person. Like if you had a house that like Johnny Depp lived in for a little bit, that house isn't valuable because it's a house anymore. It's valuable because of Johnny Depp. I mean, a house is a house. It really doesn't matter anymore. I mean, the value of it is going to be simply because he touched it. Like he was near it. I mean, you take him out of the equation and now it doesn't matter anymore. Nobody cares really. what it looks like, as long as they know he was there at some point. That's all they care about. And so what they're showing about history is when they wrote that plaque saying how like no one's famous that ever lived here, no one ever died, no poet or anyone still there. Basically saying like almost in a sense to the city like get over yourself. I feel like there's just like stop being you know almost like douchebags about this and just advertise the city for what it is, not for who's been there. On to like the main themes of it's 6 o'clock, or it's always 6 o'clock. I mean, they took all these characters from the past. I mean, I remember growing up with Mario Brothers, with all the Disney shows, with Mickey Mouse and all them, with all like the Justice League cartoons with all the superheroes and everything. And so in a way, I feel like when you walk into that gallery, you see all these people from your past. Like if you're my age or even a little older, you see all these characters from your past that you grew up and loved, and then now you see them in like a fashion you're not used to. And so I feel like in a sense they're showing you like what happened to them after you moved on. Like once you stopped caring about who Mario was and you moved on to like, now who's on Jersey Shore type shit. I'm sorry, who's on Jersey Shore. And it's just like, what does Mario do now? He goes a little insane because he goes from having all kinds of attention to nothing. I mean, now they're showing them going on to art, and now with Mickey Mouse now going from almost an attention crazed little mouse to now doesn't know what to do with himself, so inevitably he hangs himself because he can't handle life anymore. I mean, it just shows you like alternate realities of things. I mean, you always want to think your favorite characters are always so happy and like they never change, but when in reality people do get older and people and things do change. And I think it's just putting new perspective on that, like what makes them above everybody else in a sense. I don't know, like kind of like make you think about it. Like why do they get to be untouched and have a perfect life and not have to deal with the everyday craziness that we do, and why do they get to be above it all? And so it shows them like in a sense being real, being human. It personifies the characters a little more. And what they say about America and Hollywood is when they were showing like United We Stand and all the posters out, they were kind of showing how Hollywood has control over America. Because I mean, if Hollywood came out with a movie right now saying Korea was evil, and how like and then like it made a movie about showing like their government plotting against the United States and stuff, and then like them coming in and invading and things of that nature. Soon it'd become in the American mindset that that's what Korea was doing, and that I mean people will believe a movie even though they know it's fake. I mean it starts to be like, what if they are doing that? I mean just putting that idea in somebody's head starts to mess with the psyche of the nation. I mean, or if they created a movie where like, let's say like, I don't know, Canada for instance, was doing that kind of stuff. I mean, people wouldn't believe it at first, but because Canada's more like a laid back country, they're seen that way. I mean, but then that thought would be like, what if it's a front? What if they're actually trying to do something? I mean, what if they're trying to be sneaky, or if like they made a movie about the Mexican immigrants coming into the United States. Very soon you'd have people being really racist towards them and being like, you know what, you'd be able to like have you'd be able to like manipulate the mindset, and you'd have people turning on immigrants just because they saw a movie saying that they're bad. I mean, for dumb little reasons, you're gonna have people get their minds manipulated and not even realize it. I mean, they saw a movie and now they can't function how they used to. I mean, you see a movie. I mean, like if you're in a relationship and you see a movie about a couple and one of them cheats on the other, now it's in your mind, like, well, if it happened in the movie, it can happen in real life. And in a relationship where you thought that would never happen, all of a sudden that doubt creeps in and it messes everything up. And so, in the same sense of how like there's peace in the world, or there like we'd like to think that there's peace in the world when you see a movie about war, and then now, I mean, and like a new enemy is brought up to you. It's that same kind of thing, and it like with their movie about how like Europe tries to get involved in everything, and it goes into an inevitable like war. I mean, that just puts that idea into the minds of people like that's gonna happen now. I mean, because in movies everything always works out, and if it can't work out in the movie, then it's not going to work out in real life. So if a situation like that were to happen, war is going to come no matter what. Like there's no way that we can reach a diplomatic situation if in the movie they couldn't do it, because if you can't script it that way, then how come it can't happen in reality? When you start you start getting into all these depths of questions, and I think that's what they're going for. They want you to be like, why does it matter so much? I mean, it's a movie. Get over yourself in a sense. I mean, I think they want you to realize it's meant to entertain. It's not meant to be taken seriously. I mean, the only things to be taken seriously in life are, your work and like your relationships, not things of this nature. I mean, documentaries are one thing, but Hollywood blockbusters of this nature that are just trying to make money, they're not to be taken seriously. I really feel like that's what they're going for. They just want you to realize life is meant to be happy and meant to be carefree, not to get caught up on life's little issues. You know, just be happy where you are. Have your own beliefs and not let them get affected by what someone else says. Not let someone else come in and ruin it and tell you what to think. Be you, and that's all you ever need to be happy. Alright, so that is Project 9.